Few entertainers in modern history have managed to turn creativity into capital with the precision of Taylor Swift. She didn't just write hit songs, she built an empire where music, branding, business strategy, and cultural influence move in perfect sync. What began as a teenage country career has evolved into one of the most financially powerful personal brands on the planet. Taylor Swift's rise to billionaire status isn't the result of luck, viral moments, or fleeting trends. It is the product of long-term ownership, control over intellectual property, and an almost surgical understanding of her audience. And while the numbers are staggering, the story behind them is even more fascinating. From pop star to billionaire powerhouse. When reports confirmed that Taylor Swift's net worth had crossed the $1 billion mark, the reaction wasn't disbelief, it was inevitability. Years of sold-out tours, record-breaking album releases, strategic re-recordings, and meticulous brand management had already laid the groundwork. At the center of this financial explosion sits the Eras Tour, a cultural phenomenon disguised as a concert series. It wasn't just successful, it rewrote the rules. Stadiums sold out in minutes, secondary markets went wild. Entire cities experienced economic spikes simply because Swift was in town. Economists and analysts began describing her less like a musician and more like an industry. Hotels filled, restaurants overflowed, transportation surged. In several cities, the local economic boost reached hundreds of millions of dollars over just a few nights. Few entertainers in history, if any, have produced that level of measurable economic impact from live performances alone. And then came the concert film. Instead of handing distribution power to traditional studios, Swift partnered directly with theaters. The result? One of the highest-grossing concert films of all time, earning nearly $100 million in its opening run across North America. It was a reminder that Swift doesn't just perform inside systems, she redesigns them. When presence equals profit. One of the most fascinating aspects of Taylor Swift's influence is how far it extends beyond music. Even the possibility of her attendance at an event can change market behavior. Sporting events rumored to feature Swift have seen ticket prices surge dramatically. Entire fan bases mobilize instantly, and the ripple effects touch resale platforms, broadcasters, and advertisers. In one notable instance, fan enthusiasm generated seismic activity measurable enough to spark headlines, proof that Swifties don't just show up, they move the ground. This level of influence isn't manufactured. It's cultivated through trust, emotional connection, and consistency. Fans don't just consume Swift's work, they participate in it. And participation scales, a portfolio as strategic as her lyrics. With immense wealth comes diversification, and Taylor Swift's real estate holdings reflect both taste and tactical intelligence. Her property portfolio stretches across multiple states and is estimated to be worth tens of millions of dollars. New York City remains central to her lifestyle. Her Tribeca residences were acquired gradually, combined into a single expansive living space that reflects both privacy and architectural elegance. Renovations weren't about flash, they were about control, comfort, and long-term value. But Swift doesn't limit herself to one skyline. In Los Angeles, she restored a historic Beverly Hills property rather than demolishing it, a move that preserved cultural value while enhancing exclusivity. On the East Coast, she owns a Rhode Island beachfront estate, known for hosting legendary gatherings that feel more like cultural events than parties. She's also invested in quieter spaces, including properties tied to family and personal retreat. The pattern is clear. Swift doesn't buy homes impulsively. She curates environments, control, comfort, and controversy. Taylor Swift's travel habits often spark conversation, and for good reason. She owns 2 private jets, customized for long-distance international travel. These aircraft are designed for efficiency, security, and scheduling freedom, an unavoidable reality for an artist operating on a global scale. Each jet reflects personal touches, including her signature number 13, a subtle branding detail that doubles as superstition and identity. While private aviation draws criticism for environmental impact, it also underscores the reality of Swift's position. When time is your most valuable asset, commercial logistics simply don't work. Whether flying between continents for performances or shuttling between creative projects, Swift's travel strategy mirrors her career: direct, controlled, and uncompromising. Cars, but make them practical. Unlike some celebrities who build garages resembling exotic car museums, Taylor Swift's vehicle collection is surprisingly balanced. Yes, there are supercars, high-performance machines built for speed and engineering excellence, but there are also SUVs chosen for comfort, security, and practicality. Luxury sedans, performance coupes, and versatile daily drivers coexist in her collection. It's not about showing off, it's about having the right tool for the right moment. Swift's choices suggest someone who appreciates quality but doesn't feel the need to announce it at every traffic light. In other words, horsepower with restraint. Fashion as narrative, not noise. Taylor Swift's style isn't random. It's deliberate storytelling, stitched together with the same care she applies to her lyrics and visuals. Every outfit, whether worn on stage, in a music video, or on a red carpet, fits into a larger visual language that evolves with each era of her career. Nothing exists in isolation. Designers are chosen thoughtfully, not for trend value, but for alignment. Accessories carry symbolism. Color palettes are rarely accidental, often mirroring the emotional temperature of her albums. Soft pastels during introspective phases, bold contrasts during moments of reinvention. Clothing becomes a visual extension of the music itself. Swift doesn't collaborate with major fashion houses as a passive muse. She operates as a creative partner, shaping narratives rather than simply wearing designs. When she steps out in a look, it doesn't just sell, it sparks conversation, interpretation, and imitation. Entire product lines have sold out within hours of her appearance, not because of hype alone, but because fans recognize intention behind every choice. For Taylor Swift, fashion isn't decoration or excess. It's an extension of authorship, a way of communicating before a single word is spoken. Brand power without overexposure. Despite having one of the largest audiences on the planet, Taylor Swift is remarkably selective about endorsements. She doesn't attach her name to everything that comes calling. When she aligns with a brand, it's usually one that complements her image rather than competes with it. Her partnerships span technology, beverages, financial services, and lifestyle, but they share a common thread: longevity and trust. These aren't short-term cash grabs or impulse deals. They're calculated associations built around shared values and credibility. Brands don't just borrow her fame, they tap into the relationship she has cultivated with her audience over years of consistency and authenticity. When Swift endorses something, fans don't feel sold to, they feel informed. In an age of influencer saturation, that credibility is rare. And in the business world, it's priceless. The famous cats and the softer side of wealth. No portrait of Taylor Swift would be complete without mentioning her cats, each named with a mix of humor, personality, and pop culture awareness. While their monetary value is often joked about online, their real significance lies elsewhere entirely. They humanize her. In an empire defined by charts, tours, contracts, and financial milestones, Swift's affection for her pets offers a grounding contrast. They appear in interviews, social posts, and quiet moments that remind fans that beneath the billionaire status is someone still anchored in everyday comforts. The cats represent something important: stability. In a life that moves at global speed, they symbolize normalcy, routine, and emotional grounding. things money can't buy, but wealth often threatens to erode. Giving back without the spotlight. Taylor Swift's philanthropy is rarely loud. She donates generously to disaster relief, education, arts organizations, and community support programs, often without press releases or campaigns attached. From supporting orchestras to funding emergency aid, her charitable actions tend to be direct and personal. She doesn't just give money, she gives attention, which can be even more powerful. It's influence used quietly, but effectively. More than music. Taylor Swift's success isn't about one tour, one album, or one viral moment. It's about ownership, control, and vision. She understands that music is the foundation, but business is the amplifier. She didn't just become a billionaire by singing well, she became one by thinking long-term, protecting her work, and treating creativity as both art and infrastructure. In the modern entertainment landscape, that may be her greatest legacy, not the records broken, but the blueprint she's quietly written for everyone watching. And judging by the numbers, a lot of people are watching. Before you go, remember, behind the headlines, the numbers, and the billion-dollar empire, Taylor Swift's story is really about control, creativity, and playing the long game. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more behind-the-scenes stories of power, wealth, and influence, make sure you like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow and it lets you stay one step ahead of the stories shaping our world.